may not be prepared. This encourages you to take intellectual risks without completely killing your chances to get into the Wharton School of Business. So that's basically how that works. There are more details on the course website, and in the syllabus, which I'll take you through right now. We've got a website dedicated to the course on B Courses. Most of you have probably discovered this already. For those of you who have not, here's basically how it works. For a long time, we had a course website on BSpace, but the administration, in its infinite wisdom, decided to switch platforms. So we're still building this one. There's still some kinks to be worked out, but basically it seems to be working pretty well. If you go to the B Courses website, you will see a screen like this. It'll have your name in it. Over here, a place for you to modify your settings. I encourage you to go to the settings link, click on the settings link, and modify your settings so that you get announcements delivered to you by email. Okay? I don't think that's the default, but if I were you, I would make sure that announcements are delivered to your email, and also that any email I send you through the B Courses email facility will be routed to whatever email platform you usually check. Then over here under courses, there's a little drop down, and you'll see all the courses for which you're registered or waitlisted that have B Courses websites. This one is one of them, so you'll see it right there, Scientific Approaches to Consciousness. And you click on that, and you get a page that looks like this, and a navigation bar down the left-hand side. Click on the syllabus. You'll see essentially a representation of the printed syllabus that's in your hands with what we're going to do on any particular day, and also the discussion postings. There are assignments, so you click on that, and you will get the assignments for the entire semester. Click on any one of those, and you'll see something that looks like this. First, the chapters in Rev and Suo that are assigned. Then, for those of you who are looking at the Farthing text, the corresponding chapters in Farthing. I've prepared an extensive set of lecture supplements for this course. If I were inclined to write a textbook, which I am not, this is what the textbook would look like. So there are links to those lecture supplements there. The supplements basically contain the lectures that I'm presenting in this course, plus a whole bunch of other material. For those of you who've taken other courses with me, you know how that works. Then there are also lecture illustrations available for each of these series of lectures. 3 per page for note-taking, 6 per page for the environment. These will be updated before each lecture series begins, and then I'll fiddle with them while the lecture series is going on, and then I'll post a final set after each lecture series begins. So I sent out an announcement about today's lecture illustrations. You might have gotten that. If you didn't, that's why you change your settings so you get announcements delivered via email. And also I'll send out an announcement when the revisions are posted, which might be a little bit later today. So those are the assignments. And you'll see here discussion posting number 1. Those are under the discussions. Here, there are the 9 discussion postings. Again, roughly every week or so, one of these is going to be due. You click on that, and you'll see the prompt for the discussion posting. It's different for each week. And then what you do is you put your cursor in this little reply box, and you either type or you paste your discussion posting. What are we looking for here? We're not looking for long treatises. We're looking for a nice, pithy response to the prompt. 50 words, 100 words, 250 words max. That's one double-spaced sheet of paper, okay? 12-point font. That's all we're looking for, something along that line. The trick is you won't be able to see other people in your discussion sections postings until you posted yours. Then you can see everybody's, okay? But what will happen here is that B courses will automatically take you to your discussion section so that after you've done your post, you can see what other people that you're dealing with in your weekly discussion sections have also had to say. The GSIs, Adam and Sarah, will respond to a sample of these throughout the semester. You can expect to get comments from them back on roughly 1/3 of your postings. But you should feel free to comment on your section mates' postings and get comments back from them. Make those comments constructive, not destructive. Try to make them positive. If they're negative, make them nicely negative. Because we are watching. We don't want any flames going on here. The whole point of this is to get discussion going about the course, both inside and outside formal lectures. Okay, so there's that. This course is webcast. So beginning today, this lecture, the folks at ETS are collecting the audio and the slides so that you can review these, or if you have to miss a class or whatever, you can get back to it later. The lag time on that is typically 1 day, so tomorrow at some point you should expect to find this in the webcast of this lecture posted. And that's really all I have to say about that, except that by virtue of being webcast, there are people around outside of campus who may be listening in. And for those people, if you want access to the material on B courses, you should email me at jfkillstrom.berkeley.edu. I'm in the directory. And when we take questions in class, I'll always try to have some time for questions. If your question's not loud, try to ask me to repeat it. After 43 years of teaching, I have never developed the habit of repeating people's questions. I just can't do it. And the reason I can't do it, I think, is because you got a question, I want to talk to you, okay, and respond to you. But for the benefit of folks at home and ships at sea, we should make it easier for them to participate as well. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about consciousness in a minute, but first, any questions about the organization and format of the course? Anything at all? Yes?
So if you're waitlisted under the cognitive science team, will you cross-reference both of the waitlist with the sites? Will that be you?
If you're waitlisted for the cognitive science class, which is nominally full, your chances of getting off the wait list are relatively low. That's all I can tell you. Okay? Yeah, it won't necessarily help. Okay? We'll try to keep track of that because the GSIs have a list of just who's in their discussion section. But again, if you're waitlisted for Psych 129, I think at least you're waitlisted for a discussion section that has some room in it. Okay, so especially if you're not a Psych or Cog Sci major, that might help a little bit. Telebears, one really good thing about being a faculty member at Berkeley is that we don't have to deal with telebears. Okay, telebears is a mystery to me, and nobody really knows how it works. Okay. Anything else about the organization and format of the course? Yes? How long do we want the discussion to be? As long as you want it to be within reason. So if it's less than 50 words, we start thinking, maybe you're not taking this seriously. If it's more than 250 words, we start thinking, maybe you're taking this too seriously. Is that okay? Is that an answer? In the back, and then you. Oh, just pray to the telebears god. I think what you should do is go to the discussion section that you want to go to the discussion section for which that you're in, because if not, there's a chance you're going to be dropped. Okay? Then go to the discussion section you want to get in, and we'll do what we can. We can do some manual things. But we want to minimize those just because that's 140 kids here. And we're not going to do 140 section swaps, okay? We might be able to manage a couple of section swaps before Telebears blows up. Or the student services office is more likely to blow up. Because the student services office for both Cog Sci and Psych, they're wonderful people who work very hard, and one of the reasons they work very hard is that they are both seriously understaffed, okay? So we want to make life good for you. We also want to make life good for them. Is that a question? No, you're not responsible for the material in the lecture supplements. I'm tempted to do that every year because, frankly, they're really good, okay? And they're, frankly, better than Revensuo. But the Revensuo is pretty good, and there just has to be an end to what we require at some point, okay? The nice thing about a textbook like Revensuo's is he will give you a somewhat different point of view than I have on some topics. So you kind of get different perspectives, okay? If it was just me lecturing and my lecture supplements, all you'd get is me, and that's too much. Anything else about organization and format of the course? All right, so what are we going to do here? We're going to talk about consciousness. What do we mean by consciousness? Consciousness entails two basic kinds of things. First, our awareness of ourselves and the world around us. Our ability to monitor ourselves, what we're experiencing, what we're doing, what we're thinking. This aspect of consciousness, known as awareness, has to do with phenomenal experience, that is what's happening to you right now, your awareness of events in the world, and the contents of your own mind. But that's not all there is to consciousness. Consciousness also has to do with what we call agency, not just being aware of ourselves and the environment, but also controlling ourselves and our environment. This is what we talk about agencies, what we mean when we talk about voluntary activity, and it raises all sorts of questions about the nature of things like free will. How much control do we have over our own minds and our own behavior? Now, if you think about it for a second, conscious awareness and conscious control are related. It's just on sheer logical grounds, it's hard to imagine how you could consciously control something you're not consciously aware of, okay? But awareness and control are different, and we're going to talk about both aspects of consciousness in this class. Where do these problems come from? Well, blame him. René Descartes, 17th century the philosopher, who tried to break away from medieval patterns of thinking that were dominated by arguments from authority, and decided that he would try very hard to erect his own body of knowledge just on the basis of doubt about everything, okay? It's called methodological doubt. He didn't, the one thing Descartes didn't doubt was that he could get to knowledge through reason, okay? And when he started reasoning about things, the other thing he discovered he couldn't doubt was that he was thinking, okay? So there we get his famous sentences, cogito ergo sum, I think